Hello everyone and welcome. Today I've got a very special video for you guys. I'm going to be going over the top 10 carts, or the top 10 vehicles in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. Now with number 10, I was kind of stuck between 4 vehicles. I had, I forget them, but one of them, okay, it was Mach 8, it was Sports Coupe, it was this obviously, and then one more I'm forgetting. I might remember it later, who knows. Oh, Landship was the other one. Those 4 I was debating for number 10 on this list, but I ended up choosing the City Tripper. And the main reason being, even though it has inferior stats, what it makes up for is its ability to wall dodge. And I'm going to talk about this for a bunch of different carts in this video, and even though you might be saying to yourself, well, I don't know how to wall dodge, why would I ever care? Why would I ever care that this has a better chance of wall dodging? Well, wall dodging is a lot easier than you think it is. It's literally just slamming against a wall by drifting into it. Oh, I just missed that box. And if you get the right timing down, you can do it. And I think this in particular, this bike, if you're having trouble with wall dodging, this surely will help you get used to that a little bit. Now, it isn't the best vehicle on this list to do that with, but at the same time, it is decent, and it's also pretty drippy. They call it the City Dripper for a reason, so, you know, in the streets, that's what they call it, obviously. Okay, I'm alive somehow. We're double redding first. Are we getting first? We are not double redding first. It hit the monument, I think. Oh, and I'm getting fired. Okay, well, that is number 10, City Tripper. Let's move on to number 9. And number 9 on the list, we got the Streetle. Now, the Streetle actually has a lot more uses than 90% of the vehicles on this list, because of the fact that if you ever get a water track, so if you're playing competitive, let's say 6v6, usually there's only 2 tracks that are picked between the 2 teams, which means if there are 2 water tracks on the board, you can actually switch to Streetle, and of course people will use the Yoshi class more than likely, so Yoshi Streetle in that case. And this, in that sort of way, you could say that this actually has, you could say that this is higher on the list, I guess is what I'm trying to get at. But the main reason why it's at number 9 and not higher is because as a solo kart by itself, as a main, not great. It doesn't have anything else going for it, much other than the water speed. So that in and of itself is going to help in competitive play, but as a main by itself, you can't really rely on the water speed so much with this vehicle. So you kind of have to roll with the disadvantages on every other track in this game. And it's not like every other track is a water track. It's pretty rare that, you know, even in competitive play, you get 2 water tracks. So the fact that, you know, there would be a main that you'd have to go with for all 96, and then let's say a worldwide, that's just not going to help you at all. Can I etch out this first? Oh, what is happening? Why did I get... Okay. Luckily this is a worldwide. I don't really care about how I do in these, but yeah, that was number 9. Let's move on to number 8. And with number 8, we have the pipe frame. Now, this is similar to the Streetle in some ways. It has a bit more water speed than the meta combo in Yoshi Teddy, but it's a lot more well-rounded than what the Streetle is. And what I mean by that, well, it's got very similar stats to some of the meta combos on this list, and overall I just think the pipe frame, also with like the visibility, even though it's small, it does make a difference. And I used to actually, for a brief moment after I believe it was Wave 5. Yeah, it was Wave 5. I tried to play Kamek Pipe Frame and eventually Yoshi Pipe Frame to try and see if this could be my new main, but ended up not working out. This feels a little bit too clunky to be the main meta combo. The other meta combos are much smoother and just better stats overall as well. So it's kind of hard to argue for Pipe Frame being the best vehicle in the game. But it's a solid 8 here in this list, so I'd say not doing too bad for itself. I also would like to mention, this was my main in Mario Kart 8 for the Wii U for quite a bit. I think I used Blue Falcon a little bit, but I mainly used, I think it was Heavy Me Pipe Frame Slick Tires, so throwback to those days, I guess. We're getting a first here on Big Blue. I think he had a green and hit like a nail on the ground or something at the end, but we got first with Shy Guy Pipe Frame. Let's go. Let's move on. Number 7. And number 7 on the top 10 vehicles is Varint. Now, Varint and the last combo, or the last vehicle on this list, both actually have the exact same stats. So, why does it make a difference? Well, for one, Varint has a smaller hitbox, which definitely helps with avoiding items. And also, the Varint has that added ability that I talked about earlier with wall dodging red shells. So, combine those two factors, you have a vehicle that's just outclasses. Sorry, I forgot what it was. Pipe Frame. My bad. I switched rooms and it took quite a bit of time to get me back into a room that actually functioned. So I legit just forgot. Anyways. Varint as well, I want to talk about more on the stats because these are the same as Pipe Frame. As I just mentioned, the stats on this are actually quite similar to Teddy. There's only really small differences. You gain acceleration, but you lose weight, and then you gain handling, and I believe traction. Oh, that's great. I touched with triple reds and a star, or double reds and a star. You're gone. And you're gone as well. I'm gonna star into first, I think. But, yeah. The thing that it loses out on the most is actually the speed. The anti-grav and the airspeed are much more important than the water speed that it gains, and it loses a lot more as well for that. So, combine those factors, that's why it's not the main meta combo, is mainly because of the speed, and speed and mini turbo are the two most important stats in this game. So that's why it's only at number 7 instead of way higher on this list. And with number 6 on this list, we have Cat Cruiser. Now, I've seen this a lot that comes up. It comes up in my comment sections, it comes up in other people's videos. This has the same stats as the meta combination in Yoshi Teddy Buggy. So why in the world would it be number 6 on this list? And why in the world isn't it used... Oh, goodbye. Why isn't it not used more often? And why isn't the meta combo? Because actually, I'm pretty sure it has more invincibility. It might have one other stat. That might be... I don't think they have one other stat. I don't think Cat Cruiser does, but... anyways, regardless, there's basically one main reason. And, well, two, kind of. The main reason is the drifting style. The drifting style of Cat Cruiser does not pair super well with the stats. The drifting style of Teddy Buggy is the ATV drifting style, which is by far the best drifting style in the game. It is not close. That is why Wiggler was such a main stage in the meta for so long, was mainly because of the drifting style that it had. It takes turns a lot better and tighter, and that just doesn't happen with the Cat Cruiser. I don't know if it has a bigger hitbox. The other main reason is that it just feels kind of clunky, and, well, compared to the other vehicles on this list, and a lot of the other vehicles, the advantages that they have over this, it's not quantifiable, I guess you could say, to say that this is clunkier than the other meta combos or the top 5 on this list, but it's got that feeling. It's hard to kind of put into words what exactly I'm talking about. There may be someone in the comments that will be able to tell me exactly what I mean by it, but it just feels... Oh, I'm getting back on the line. But yeah, that's why this is mainly at number 6. Now, top 6, you could basically interchange these. These are not going to make or break your combination. So if you like how any of these top 6 look, I recommend you use your favorite. And number 5 on this list is the old meta vehicle. And it's hard to say it's really old because Wiggler is really the old meta vehicle, but early on, this was deemed as the meta vehicle in the game, and there was quite a few reasons for it. The smaller hitbox, which is an advantage that it has over Cat Cruiser, the last combo. The smaller hitbox definitely helps a lot. Helps with wall dodging reds as well, even though it's not a bike. It is a little bit easier on smaller frames to wall dodge reds, so it does help its case compared to the Cat Cruiser. And the reason why this has kind of fallen off is, well, people have been valuing mini turbo, and for good reason, a lot more than they have speed. And that's the main advantage that this has over the Teddy Buggies. It has less mini turbo, but it has more speed in return, especially anti-gravity speed. So that's the big reason why this is no longer a top 2 or even first. Is just because people have figured out how to really take advantage of those mini turbo stat combos that you get with better weight classes, that you get with better vehicles on this list. So that's the main reason why it's here at 5 and not, top 2 or top 3. So yeah, using Inkling because, well, you have to. He's from Splatoon. I could use Inkling Girl, I guess, too, but Blue Inkling Boy looks kind of sick, so, And, yeah, let me know in the comment section below. Also, I forgot to mention this, but another big reason, and this is way more cosmetic, but this is by far, in my opinion, the most annoying cart in the game. Oh, okay, what just happened? The sounds, I just hate it so much. I don't know how people could bear mating this for the longest time. Maybe if you didn't have game audio, if you don't play with game audio, this was fine for you. But maybe it would normally, if it didn't have bad sounds, be high on this list. But, oh, backed on the line again. But it's just so annoying. And the equivalents to this are just a lot worse for hitbox reasons. It just kind of eliminates the combo from being good, and it's stats that are attached to it. Number 4 on the top 10 vehicles is Bitty Buggy. Now, this is where we're going to start to get a lot more mini turbo coming into play, because Bitty Buggy and another vehicle on this list have the highest mini turbo stat in the game on any vehicle, and it's no surprise that this is a top 4 vehicle in the game because of that. Now, the reason why isn't it higher is because it has a little bit of a wider hitbox. Now, it does have a great drift style, but it is not the ATV that, you should basically value over a lot of different, well, not over a lot of different things, but it basically is a stat in itself, the drifting style, and it's decent on this, but it isn't the main reason why you'd have this over the top 3 on this list. Bitty Buggy does have plenty of world records, and in time trials, of course, hitbox doesn't matter at all. So when you're online, it's going to be a main cause for concern because you're going to want to be able to avoid items, even if it is just that small little difference. It's going to make or break a couple of your races, so you just gotta, trust me when I say this is why it's number 4 on the list and why it's not higher is because the hitbox is a big concern. There's small other things that you consider with other combos, like the fact that I talked about with wall dodging earlier. There's going to be one specific vehicle on this list that if you... oh, that was sick. If you don't already know what the vehicle is, you'll know by then it has a specific advantage over this that is not just drifting style or hitbox. But anyways, with that being said, Buggy at number 4, you could easily main this, get away with it, and if you like how this looks, I like how this combo looks, personally. If you want to main something like this, by all means, you are not going to have any disadvantage combo-wise now, skill-wise. We're going to have to check that a little bit, okay? But, you know, combo-wise, this is not going to be all too different than the meta. At number 3, we have the only inside drifting bike that will be on this list, and the only vehicle that is based off a character on this list, I believe, the Yoshi Bike. And I am absolutely abhorrent at inside drift, so forgive me for my awful lines that you will be experiencing during this race. I know, inside drift bike mains probably will all have better lines than me in this track, but I get it, okay? But we gotta make the video somehow, okay? I can't just be dishonest and put 10 outward vehicles on here, because that wouldn't be fair to the Yoshi Bike. By far the best inside drifting bike in the game, and it's the reason why it's the only one used at competitive play, is because it just outshines the other inside drift bike vehicles by a long shot. I believe it has better stats than the, what is the second best combo, or the best vehicle, which is the Comet and the sports bike. Those do have, I think the sports bike has a world record, maybe, or it used to, but the Yoshi Bike is just way better for online. What I will mention about inside drifting bikes, they're by far the easiest type of drift. Okay, yeah, I don't know what I'm doing, I'm sorry. The easiest type of drift style to wall dodge reds on. You literally just slam into the wall. There's not much timing going into it at all. You kind of just get it a lot by doing that. Now, it does take a little bit of skill, but a lot less than the outside drifting vehicles on this list. So that does give itself a big advantage. Now, the downside is that it's a lot slower on every single track in this game. So you might be saying, why is it at number 3 and not like way further down on the list? Well, the other advantages that it has is inside drifting has pretty big advantages over outside drifting in terms of backing people, can take tighter turns, so it can outline people a lot easier than, say, on outside drift. And the mismatch kind of makes it a lot better. Like, versus outward, it's fairly decent. Like, it's kind of like a meta killer in a way, I guess you could call it. Is like, if you've played any other competitive game where there are like metas involving characters, you can kind of think of this as like a meta killer in a way. I don't know why I'm not using my items, by the way. I'm just focused on giving you guys the best information possible. But we got 11th. As you can tell, by far my worst drifting style. Not close, but trust me, it is number 3 on this list for a reason. If you can master this type of drift style and get really good at it, you can outskill and outmaneuver your opponents very easily. Before I move on to number 2, I want to quickly mention, I did say in the last vehicle with the Yoshi Bike that it's a lot slower on most tracks. And the reason why is because it can't do super bounces. Inside drift cannot do super bounces. It also can't do launch tricks. I think there's one thing that I'm missing that it also cannot do, which will save lots of time on a lot of different tracks. Now, it is faster on some, but those are few and far between. Outward outshines those. The main advantages you'd have would be with items and specifically wall dodging reds as well. Now let's move on to number 2, which is Mr. Scooty. Now, I mentioned with Buggy there is a vehicle that has the exact same stats. That vehicle is Mr. Scooty. Now, of course, the advantage that Mr. Scooty has over Buggy, there are 2. The hitbox and the wall dodging reds, With the bike, it is much easier to wall dodge res than it is on a kart of any drifting style. So, the reason why it's 2 spots ahead instead of just 1 are for those 2 big reasons. Mr. Scooty also just feels like really good. Also, the smaller hitbox does help with getting around people, getting around items, like I've mentioned multiple times, but it also does not have... I think it also probably, debatably, has a better drift style than the Mini Buggy does. And this is the main reason why I mained it instead of Wiggler, is because of the drift style and, well, the fact that it had such a small hitbox. That's the main reason why I used it over Wiggler back in the olden days in this game when the DLC was not out and the patches did not come out for this game. So, you know, Mr. Scooty has made its grand return, still taking that, well, in my opinion, second spot, because Wiggler was probably the best in the last meta. It's returned to the second spot over Bitty Buggy even. I think it was still better than Bitty Buggy back then, but that's a discussion for another time. Regardless, it's number 2 here now. And let's move on to the final combo. And the final vehicle on this list, a lot of you have seen it coming. I think I've probably mentioned it a couple times already, but it is Teddy Buggy. And it's not close in my opinion. People have gone to Scooty, but I think it's just a fad. I think it'll tone down a little bit. I don't think it'll go completely away. I think there will be still a lot of people maining it, but it'll basically fade into, rather it being like 40-60, like Scooty being 40% and Teddy being 60% of the competitive player base. Well, at least compared to each other, not necessarily everyone, but you get the point. It's a lot better than Scooty, than what the usage rate is, in my opinion. And there are 3 main factors for this. 1, the stats. It just has the best stat combination of speed and mini turbo in the game, and it's not close. The other is the drifting style. The main reason is the drifting style. The weight also helps a lot, but like I mentioned, with Wiggler, it is having the ATV drifting style is such a nice thing to have, and you're not going to notice it if you're not switching a lot or if you're not really a competitive player, but it does make a big difference, and it makes a lot of a bigger difference than you might think. It's not everything, but it is a pretty big difference, and it's something to pay attention to, especially if you want to nitpick for a top 10 list for the vehicles in this game. And like I said, it's not close. Teddy Buggy is the best vehicle in this game. Now, you can use any of the top 6, and really any of the top 10 as well, if you're in worldwide or regional lobbies, and you will be doing just fine. A lot of this game comes down to your decision making, comes down to your driving lines, and ultimately your skill. So, you know, with that out of the way, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know in the comments section below, what do you mean? And would you consider changing based off this top 10 list? Is there anything you disagree with? Put that all in the comment section below. I hope you guys enjoyed. Have a great rest of your day. Subscribe to the channel. Follow me on Twitch as well. I stream a lot over there. I'll see you guys next time.